Welcome, folks, on this beautiful evening. My name is Bernie Flynn, and I am the CEO of Mercer Street Friends. Okay, thank you. We are thrilled to be hosting our second annual leadership event here in person at the food bank. Yeah. So first and foremost, I want to recognize and thank the staff, our volunteers, and our board of trustees, including our chair, Ken Blackwell. I'm not sure where Ken is. There he is. Everybody please raise your hands who's part of staff, volunteers, and the board. Yeah. Yeah. You're going to hear more about their work in just a moment. I also want to thank everyone else in attendance tonight for your support. You are part of the Mercer Street Friends family, and with your help, we are making an impact with children and families throughout Mercer County. Tonight, you are all in for a treat. We have an outstanding slate of honorees. They are individuals and organizations who are service leaders and have made a difference, not only in Mercer County, but throughout New Jersey, across the country, and beyond. And they follow some tremendous leaders that we recognized last year at this time, who have joined us tonight. So I'd like to recognize those who are in attendance who were honorees last year. First, NJM CEO Mitch Livingston, who received the Corporate Leadership and Public Service Award. Where are you, Mitch? Thank you. Also, Bernadette Trapp received the Education Leadership Award for her service as principal of Rivera Community Middle School. And just to show you that we're no dummies, after she retired, within 4 weeks, we had her working for Mercer Street Friends as the Director of Community Schools. So before we begin to recognize our 2022 leadership honorees, we have a 5-minute video about what we do here at Mercer Street Friends, thanks to all of your help and support. Let's run the video.
Mercer Street Food Bank leads the community response to hunger in Mercer County. Since April of 2020, we service probably 50 pantries and 100 what I'm gonna call pop-up mobile pantries throughout the Mercer County area. Through those programs, we have various sub-programs, what I call the Senior Box Program, the SHUCK Program, which is Send Hunger Packing, and the Community Food Bag Program. In addition to that, we lend services to our pantries. In terms of this year, we have been fortunate to support them with equipment needs. I think the collaborative effort goes in layers. It's almost like an onion. Within our base of Mercer Street Friends, we have the executive leadership team. From there, we have the directors. And then from there, I refer to the food bank as the hub of Mercer Street Friends. Years ago, the people would take it as the flagship. We shouldn't be the flagship. We're the hub, we're support, we're Atlas. We hold up the rest of the program.
Parenting and Adult Services is a group of programs that have been brought together to address many of the issues that our young families with whom we work in Trenton are struggling. For example, being survivors of a lot of trauma. Most of our folks are living in poverty. They have a lot of issues with which they've never had the opportunity to deal. And it's impacting their own wellness and their ability to parent their children in a way that is healthy and productive for the whole family. At the end of the day, what the programs are really all about is partnering with parents so that they are able to have an opportunity to make choices about themselves and the kind of life they want to lead with their families.
Mercer Street Friends Preschool has been in existence for more than 25 years. We serve 90 children. The children are ages 3 to 5 years old. The only requirement is that they live, in the city of Trenton. We offer very high quality services. We aren't babysitters. Our teachers are certified school teachers, and they're equipped to teach the children and to make sure they're very well developed to enter kindergarten. At Mercer Street Friends, I guess, we take care of the whole family. If we can't provide something that they need, then we look for the resources that they do. We can feed them, we can, if they need Pampers, if they need diapers, anything like that, we can help them. And if it's something that we don't provide, we can find the resources to help them with what they need.
The Trenton Community Schools Initiative is a partnership between Mercer Street Friends and the Trenton Public Schools District. Our students are facing so many challenges, as well as their parents, and we know that if kids are struggling in other aspects of their lives, obviously it's going to impact their ability to learn and their ability to be present with the learning process. I'm a Trentonian, and so this is really near and dear to my heart. Not only have I experienced some of the challenges that our students are facing, I have walked with so many of these families for nearly 15 years. And also now being a parent, I've felt and understood some of the challenges that come with that, with raising a child. And so I understand the challenges that come with being a family or a student in Trenton. And so it means a lot to me. I don't want to get emotional, but it means a lot. And I wouldn't give it up for anything.
When you speak to families is when you really hear what kind of an impact we make on their lives. For a family that is continually involved with us and works with us, the impact is a happier child, someone that wants to come to school on a regular basis, a decline in behavioral issues at home as well as in school, an increase in academic performance, happier parents because they're not fighting all the time with the children. An impact in school is that the school and the school community, the teachers and those people responsible for education are able to address education and let us address all those other barriers that get in the way so they can focus on what they were trained to focus on. It's about the kids. This is a forgotten community, and our kids deserve so much more. So it's really about them and doing what's right for them. It's that simple. And if Mercer Street Friends can be that conduit for the 3 schools we're in, and our kids can find success, then we're successful. And it ultimately comes down to doing what's right for children.
Did Alicia and Bernadette make you cry? They made me cry. Of course, Butter makes me cry too, but for different reasons. I knew I'd get them for that one. So I want to thank them and Karen and Lisa for telling our story of service. And now to our honorees tonight. We could not do what we do without inspiring partners and their dedicated leadership. Our honorees exemplify what it takes to be a leader in the community when your community needs you most. First up is our corporate leadership and public service recipient, Kevin Cummings, who will be introduced through this video.
When you look at the mission of Mercer Street Friends, it is synonymous with an individual like Kevin Cummings. And the kind of work that Mercer Street Friends has done with Bernie as the CEO, Bernie Flynn as the CEO, has been to provide resources to the community that may otherwise not go hand in hand. So when you take the mission of Mercer Street Friends and you couple that with the quality individual that Kevin Cummings is, that certainly, I certainly understand why Mercer Street Friends has chosen to recognize Kevin.
Kevin's a fantastic person on any number of levels. He's achieved that perfect balance between family, faith, and professional obligations. And sometimes those can be very elusive, as we all know. And so, he is the chair of Greater Trenton and came on chair in January of 2020. And it succeeded some fantastic chairs that we had. So Bernie Flynn was co-chair along with Karen Franzini, rest her soul. After that, we had Skip Semino. And then Kevin became chair again in January of 2020, right before the global pandemic hit the United States. And so we had perfect leader at the very difficult times to have his steady hand on the tiller, if you will, through some very treacherous storms that we all came through. And I remember at the time, he said, we're going to get through this. We're going to be better. We're going to be stronger than before. And you know what? He was right.
When Karen Franzini and I joined with Bernie Flynn to speak to Kevin, it wasn't a question of, well, let me get back to you, I'll think about it, or what have you. He basically said, I'm in. That is a phrase that defines Kevin because of what I've seen him do and how I have seen him communicate and how I have seen him work with various organizations in terms of providing resources. In our own COVID relief fund at the Princeton Area Community Foundation, I went in the height of the pandemic. I went to Kevin, and Kevin, without equivocation, contributed monies to what were sorely needed funds for people who were being placed out of work, needed food and what have you. So I saw him work in that capacity.
He's a man of very strong faith. And, when you speak to Kevin, he has a confidence and an encouragement to be better at what we all do. And as a leader, his ability to, give you the confidence and continue to encourage all of us to be better and do it better than we've ever done before. But he gives you the opportunity to excel and puts you in a position to excel and does everything in his power to make sure that we achieve whatever goals we set for ourselves.
Kevin is an extraordinary individual, but aside from his being extraordinary, he's also a very decent human being, always respectful of many other individuals. I've never seen him not be respectful of anyone. So, his extraordinary achievements both in the professional world as well as what he has done with philanthropy over time are coupled by the fact that he's just a very decent human being.
Taking care of those that are most in need resonates exceptionally well with Kevin. And it's a foundational aspect of who he is as a person. And so I can absolutely see how Kevin is a perfect honoree for Mercer Street Friends this year.
I want to thank George Soa for helping us tonight. He's with us. Skip Semino could not be with us. He had a previous commitment with the Princeton Area Community Foundation, a board meeting, but he passes along his congratulations to Kevin. And Kevin, I want to thank you for your statewide leadership as chairman and CEO of Investors Bank. You set an example for all New Jersey-based corporate CEOs on how to have a successful bank while also fully committing to improvements in the community. I know you inspired your own staff at Investors to be of service, and we particularly appreciate your dedication to the City of Trenton. It is my great pleasure to present you with the Mercer Street Friends Corporate Leadership and Public Service Award. Thanks, Pat. Get used to it.
I just said to Bernie, who's Skip and George talking about there? I don't know. I want to, thank you for that video, Bernie, and I know how difficult they are getting people together to do them. I greatly, greatly appreciate it. And I'd like to congratulate my fellow honorees tonight. Your recognition is well deserved because you are making such a great difference in the lives of so many. You know, it's a special night. It's Flag Day today, and it's also Donald Trump's birthday. But more importantly, it's my 50th anniversary from my graduation from St. Peter's Prep in Jersey City. And I want to thank Ken Kunzman, because I thought I had a long drive coming down today. He came down from Essex County. So thanks, Ken, for being here today. But it's also my parents' 75th anniversary. So, you know, it's a special day. It's, you know, it's right here. And much of whom I am today can be attributed to my upbringing in a close-knit Irish family in Jersey City. My parents instilled in me the importance of God, faith, hard work, and investing in what matters most, places like this, family, and community. They also taught me the virtues of courage, humility, perseverance, and patience. And this journey, you know, the journey is the destination, and it continues. And personally, I'm still a work in process. But it continues today with the help of my beautiful wife of 41 years, Patricia. And she is here tonight with my brother-in-law, Jack, who serves as a role model for me, as a dad, and what it means to be a man for others. And I thank them both for the joy that they bring, along with my children, Katie, Kevin, Mary, and Will, and their growing families, the joy that they bring into my life. Not just happiness, joy. And I would like to thank all my fellow Investors Bank employees that are here tonight. Ed, Allison, Denise, John, you know, all of you that are here, and all the other colleagues that continue to make Investors a special place to work. Their teams, along with Michelle Sederker, one of our board members, are making a difference every day for so many here living in Trenton. They strive to not just be successful, but to be significant, because they understand that success is fleeting, is short-lived, but being significant, you create a purposeful life and you create a legacy. Our teams work hard to be that commercial bank that keeps community in banking. And it's why Investors Bank is honored tonight to support this great organization and to celebrate with you this evening. And it's coming at an exciting time for the bank, as we are now part of Citizens Bank, one of the oldest and largest banks in the country. Combining these two organizations will create even more opportunities to better serve organizations like this and other customers. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention two other individuals who are making a big difference in Trenton. George, who was kind enough, I paid him enough, to say some nice things about me, and Brian Evans from Greater Trenton. They are tirelessly working, along with the team of volunteers at Mercer Street Friends, to make Trenton a safer, healthier, and more vibrant place to live and raise a family. But most importantly, this award is special to me because of the man who is giving it to me, Bernie Flynn. Bernie is a great example for me and a mentor to me. He told me his age. He's younger than me too, which discouraged me. He retired a couple years ago. But he has taught me that life and caring for your neighbor are more important than financial success and recognition. And in the words of author David Brooks, Bernie, in his journey, has moved from the first mountain, where financial success, accomplishment, and status are paramount, to his second mountain, where he serves others first, cares for the underserved in our communities, and brings great joy and hope to his neighbors in need. He is the epitome of the servant leader who leads by example, because he understands that people do what they see and not what they hear. His Jesuit education at Fordham has served him well, as Bernie always follows the words of the Franciscan, St. Francis: preach the gospel, and if necessary, use words. It is a great honor for me to humbly accept this award, but I accept it with great and deep gratitude for having a friend and mentor like Bernie to help me on my journey. Nourishing minds and bodies, empowering families and communities. We just saw the video. This is the mission that drives everyone at Mercer Street Friends. However, they cannot do it alone. And it's only by working together and giving our time, treasure, and talents can this organization continue to help children and families overcome hunger and poverty. I hope everyone tonight will join the bank by contributing whatever you can. A wise rabbi in Brooklyn once said to me, "If it doesn't hurt a little, you're not doing enough." And in the words of a kid from Jersey City, let's not have short arms and deep pockets, okay? Let's make tonight special by helping Bernie and his team do God's work by serving and feeding the families that need it most. I want to thank you for coming out tonight. I've come to a lot of these things. The chemistry in this room is fantastic. And I want to wish you all a happy Father's Day, every day, hopefully, and a great summer. God bless you all, and let's have a continued enjoyable evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Kevin. What a start. And more to come. So I want to thank Kevin for his kind remarks. I want to thank him for his spirit, for his leadership, and a lot more to come in your career, I know. So that brings us to our second honoree. Tonight's Philanthropic Leadership Award recipient is the Corella and Bertram F. Bonner Foundation. Mr. and Mrs. Bonner were amazing people who were deeply committed to their philanthropy, represented by the tremendous legacy the Bonner Foundation has created. It is widely known as the largest privately funded service-based college scholarship program in the country with over 18,000 alums, and continuing to support 3,000 students annually across 65 college campuses. But we gather here tonight not to recognize them for that accomplishment. We are here to recognize the Bonner Foundation for another important part of their mission, and that is crisis ministry. And this video will tell the story.
This isn't serving soup and leaving for the day. It's thinking about why that line gets longer and how that relates to policy.
It means everybody coming together for a common goal, for something really awesome.
I am able to use my education to make a difference in other people's lives, but I'm also able to use what I learned through my service in my class.
It's just something that seems so right to do.
It was really important to Mr. Bonner that he wanted to be involved with people that really needed something. He had two things in mind. One was to help the person that was hurting, and the other was to displace despair with opportunity.
Mrs. Bonner was very actively involved both in Florida and then here in Princeton in helping other people. And of course the food banks came up early in that.
Mr. Bonner had a request to make contributions to Berea, which we did. Dr. Stevenson came up to talked to Mr. Bonner. He was so impressed that after a couple of years of making contributions, he wanted to do more.
I just remember when the conversation, the words, the Bonner Scholar Program, came up. It was like, boom, it was it. We did the first year at Berea. There were 80 students in the first class, so there was just this huge kind of volume.
If you invest in these students, not only will they get an access to education and do their service, but they will actually sort of transform both the campus and the community.
I remember distinctly, after Mr. Bonner's death, getting a call saying, did I know what Mrs. Bonner plans to do?
I had no idea. I didn't know what was going to go on. I didn't know if I was going to have a job.
And I said, I think she plans to come to the office Monday morning and continue working.
Ms. Bonner came in and she sat down. She was like, Wayne, anything I need to know?
She stepped into something that she was completely briefed on. They had decided all these things together. She knew all the stories.
She, in connection with that, visited, in my recollection, almost every school.
I would say to Wayne, you can't take her down to 6 schools in a week and a half. And she'd say, I'm fine.
When Billy Bonner came to campus, oh my, she was such a magnet.
And they loved her immediately. She loved them back immediately.
She was a beloved woman to all the students.
It was certainly spiritual, if not magical.
I had the privilege of meeting Mrs. Bonner. Exceptional woman. She was in her 90s when I met her. Not only was she beautiful, vibrant, and smart, she was sexy as can be. And gave me great hope about. She shook my hand, and it was one of the firmest handshakes I'd ever had. This 90-year-old woman, brimming with passion to make sure that there weren't hungry children. It was a real pleasure in my life, real honor in my life to have met her.
The impact of the Bonner Foundation, the Bonner Scholars, and the AmeriCorps program, I clearly think that it contributes to the great collaborative nature of nonprofits in Mercer County. The ties that they have to social justice, the ties that they have to all of the programs, and the fact that there is continual young leadership that is promoting work in nonprofits. I have no doubt in my mind that that helps us to be a very collaborative county in terms of nonprofit services.
What an interesting thought. Joyce is absolutely right. They are connecting tissue throughout all of the folks who are working to alleviate poverty and hunger in our community. And we are so fortunate, so blessed to have them committed in our community.
Well, the Bonner Foundation influence is significant, and that comes from the strength of character of Mr. and Mrs. Bonner. I also want to thank Connie Mercer and Joyce Campbell, two outstanding leaders in our community, for helping to tell the Bonner story. I can also vouch for the strength and character of those who helped Mr. and Mrs. Bonner achieve their vision. The chairman of the foundation for more than 20 years, Ken Kunzman, is here tonight. Let's give him a round of applause. So I'd like to invite up to the stage the current chairman of the Bonner Foundation, Chuck Goodfellow, and the president, Bobby Hackett, to receive the Mercer Street Friends Philanthropic Leadership Award on behalf of your fine organization.
I'm not sure what Hollywood producer Bernie had put that film together, but it was pretty impressive and took away most of the things I wanted to say. But it's clear that Mr. and Mrs. Bonner early on, once certain children were out of the house and taking care of themselves, they came to me and said, our plan is to give all the money away. And this was A, a lot of money, and B, it was well before Bill Gates and Warren Buffett started the Giving Pledge. So they were ahead of that game. And then as the film spoke, they thought, they prayed, they talked with a lot of people, and they felt strongly that to help the people who are hurting, this is the goal in mind. And the food program is a key part of that. And I have to turn it right back to Bernie and the Mercer Street Friends, that is, we don't do the work, we just write the checks. They do all the work, and we couldn't do and meet our goals without them doing the work. So it's critical. And what also came across in the film was Mr. Bonner died fairly early after the foundation got started. And as Wayne and Bobby said, they called me and they said, what's happening next? Mrs. Bonner's going to be in the office Monday morning. And she was. And so that continuity continued. And then not too long after that, Mrs. Bonner died, and happily we had on the board Ken Kunzman. Ken has been an advisor and lawyer for the Bonners for years and years, and was able to step up and for close to 20 years run the foundation and help it grow and expand and do the things that Mr. and Mrs. Bonner wanted to do. So I think that on that note, I'd like to first of all thank the Mercer Street Friends again, and then turn it over to the person who really does the work, is Bobby Hackett, who's the president.
There's a note here. Speak loudly and clearly into the mic. But more importantly, he says you're doing great. So thank you, Bernie. That's right. I hadn't even started. I'm glad to know that that's there. Yeah. Well, I'm one of the lucky ones because I get to work with people like Ken Kunzman, 30 years, Chuck Goodfellow, Bernie over the last maybe 4 or 5 years. Many of you, Connie Mercer, David Fox, Joyce, and we do two things, only two things. We fund food, and we fund students to be engaged. And there's a university nearby, and there's somebody on staff there that's new, and his charge is, how do you build a relationship between that university and Trenton? And he came to talk to me because he said the one presence higher ed has in Trenton are Bonners. Everybody knows about Bonners. We had a gathering of executive directors one time in the office, and they were sort of sitting around before we were getting started, and they said, yeah, they'd lean back, and yeah, when we got a problem, we'd lean back and say, I need a Bonner. And there's 3,000 of them every year coming into the program, graduating about 750 every year. We have 100 of them at the College of New Jersey, between 40 and 60 at Rider. We have full-time AmeriCorps members, half-time AmeriCorps members, and students. And the way Connie referred to it as the glue is really one of the visions for this, right? They're not just the future. We think that training students to be leaders for tomorrow is really a form of procrastination. The question is, what can they do now? And they can do it because they have people like Bernie and his team and the other folks here who welcome them, give them important things to do, and support them in that journey. And they go on to do big things. We have 2 of them on our board. One of them runs a huge foundation in Cleveland. One of them runs the U.S. Congressional Hunger Center, Shannon Maynard. So we're part of something much bigger than ourselves, and we're only possible because people like you, we get to work with people like you to make that work. So I really thank you for honoring Mr. and Mrs. Bonner, and I'm glad to be part of the team. Thank you.
Thank you, Bobby and Chuck. Our third recipient tonight is the Generational Leadership Award, and it is presented to the 5 Help Foundation, founded by Drew and Heather Paglia. You will be amazed at the response to the pandemic that these 2 young people had. They have inspired people from across the country, and there is no better person to tell their story through this video introduction than their mother, Cindy Paglia.
Five Help is helping areas of need and crisis $5 at a time, as well as changing lives $5 at a time. So when Drew was 16 and Heather was 13, and once the world stopped, Drew went from a very rigorous 6-day-a-week school program, and he came up with the concept of saying, how can I help? And what can I do to make a difference? And realized that small contributions of $5 could lead to big impact. Heather wanted to make that even bigger and asked how they could use leverage, and said, well, let's ask them to ask 5 other people to donate $5 as well. It went from a local initiative helping small businesses, seniors, and frontline heroes. They used an initial GoFundMe platform that was established when they first started out so that it would have credibility. And on the local level, they raised about $3,000, but my son wasn't happy with that and felt it was great, but that they could do more. And so he started to write media outlets to see how they can branch out and kind of help not only locally, but nationally as well. And that's where it kind of grew from there. They enjoyed it so much helping that they created 5help.org to kind of brand what they were doing, and they continued their growth from there. We incorporated, but we knew pretty quickly with donations, and once they became national, that they really need to become a 501c3, and that they wanted to do this going on into the future. In 2 years, they have raised over $300,000 in donations and in both monetary and in-kind donations. There's a lot that hasn't been quantified, such as food and clothing. They've raised over 40,000 pounds of food and clothing that have been distributed to area food banks and other nonprofits. They work with over 50 nonprofits and support them. They realized pretty quickly that they needed to empower and help those that were already out in the community and that were established nonprofits. Their initial goal was they had a $1 million Wipe Out COVID-19 challenge. So they're still below their overall goal, so they set their sights high, but they are really actually just ramping up now. It's getting bigger and bigger, and they have one chapter in Fresno, California, and are looking to now build chapters all across the United States. They definitely intend to grow. The expansion that they're talking about now is not stopping. So this is only going to get bigger. It's not going to get smaller. And the best thing is they have probably close to over 800 volunteers now of all ages, but they've been able to empower and a lot of teens to take action, take leadership roles, and realize that it doesn't make a difference at what age you are. Small little contributions do lead to big impact. The biggest message, I believe, is that everybody just needs to understand that really everybody can have an impact. And if you're not sure, they would love for everybody to join their 5Help team. They make it really simple. That's exactly what they've done, is they've created a platform to make it easy for anybody to get involved. Well, it's you try to teach and instill in your children to help others, and you never know if that message is actually sinking in or not. And to see that it did is a wonderful thing.
So Drew and Heather have been tireless in their mission of making a difference $5 at a time. Mercer Street Friends has been the recipient of food, book bags, pull-ups, baby wipes, among other things, that we have been able to redistribute into the community. We have been inspired by their vision, resilience, and quite frankly, organization and communication skills. We are thrilled tonight to recognize the 5Help Foundation and Drew and Heather Paglia as the recipients of the Mercer Street Friends Generational Leadership Award. Come on up. Congratulations, Drew. All right, it's all yours. Congratulations, Heather.
Hello, everyone. Thank you very much to Mr. Flynn. This wouldn't be possible without him. I just want to say Mercer Street Friends is an absolutely amazing organization. Already, 5Help supports over 50 nonprofit organizations, and we've really put an emphasis on helping Mercer Street Friends because of the relations that it already has established with the community. 5Help, my sister and I, we started this organization just over 2 years ago at the beginning of COVID because we saw small businesses, seniors, and frontline workers struggling when we were sitting at home during quarantine. And we decided just instead of sitting around and doing nothing, we wanted to take action and help those in need. And that's exactly what we did, and we've kept going. And now our mission is to help areas in need and crisis everywhere. And we really enjoyed helping Mercer Street Friends and our connection with them, and we look forward to helping them in the future. And I'd like to thank Mr. Flynn again Miss Bixel for everything, as well as Mr. Allen and all the great staff today, and everybody who's made this possible. And just thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much for this award.
So our final award tonight is named for our founder, Robert M. Applebaum. Along with his fellow Quakers, he started a community center in 1958 at 151 Mercer Street in Trenton, in the Mill Hill section, and it remains our headquarters today. Past Applebaum honorees are Bob Anderson, Linda and Bill Heineman, Linda's father, Jack Espenshade, who introduced her to Mercer Street Friends, and our friend John Spears. They have all helped to sustain Mercer Street Friends and our important work through their leadership and service. Bob Anderson and Bill and Linda Heineman are with us tonight. Let's give them a round of applause. There they are. I saw Bill. This year we add two very distinguished names to that honor roll of service. Barbara and David Frazier have both served on our Board of Trustees, and Barbara was our chair at one time. They have each had careers of significant accomplishment. Barbara worked as a corporate and financial services lawyer and spent time at the Securities and Exchange Commission. David worked at the CDC and led the team that identified Legionnaire's disease. He served as the president of Swarthmore College and was the international head of health, education, and housing activities for Muslim Imam Aga Khan. Here is more about Barbara and David Frazier. When we were founded in 1958 by Trenton Quakers, they envisioned a place where the community could gather and know that they were surrounded by support. A place where the Quaker values of simplicity, peace, integrity, community, equality, and stewardship permeate all aspects of the work. Today, that vision continues to ring true as we present the Robert M. Applebaum Service Award.
Bob Applebaum was a Quaker from Trenton, was a prime mover, founder of Mercer Street Friends back in the 1950s, and the organization that has resulted from his original insight and commitment still to this day reflects his priorities, his commitment to Quaker values. That vision has been able to grow and strengthen and become an essential part of Trenton. And people like Barbara and David have furthered that. A characteristic that comes to mind, I think, from anybody who meets them is their intelligence, their capability and their backgrounds, which are really interesting. They've just done a lot of interesting stuff in their lives, and they are very engaged when you interact with them. And working alongside them, as I have in a couple of different capacities, they are both insightful, thorough, detailed, in very helpful ways.
What impressed me most about Barbara Frazier was that her learned ability as a lawyer and how she applied it as an advocate, and in this case, an advocate for Mercer Street Friends. And she did it with the greatest of faith that what she was doing was what was necessary, and it was going to help people deserving of that help. And that was her focus.
They served as exemplars for what a committed board member should be. The idea of at least being that level of committed and engaged, I think it was upping the game of the organization, and in particular how the board did its work.
The Frasers were quintessential loving couple. I could tell that they liked each other, and they were loving. They were meant to be together. They were like peas in a pod, so to speak. They were perfect together. That was my impression of them. You know, a lot of times in higher ups or people with great power and great responsibility, you don't get that. You just don't get that they still see eye to eye and still like each other's company. And that was my first impression of the Frasers.
One of the things we kind of cast around was, what words would you use to describe Barbara? And so I gathered together just now some of the words that people have used. This is specific to Barbara, but I think it applies to folks. Steadfastness, dedication, wisdom, insight, thoughtfulness, balance, inclusiveness, lead by example, inspiration to others, cool head in the midst of turmoil, generosity, and grace. Did I learn from them how to do all those things? Well, no, because I don't know how to do all those things. But I saw in action how people can be examples of things like that. And I'm very grateful for that. I wish they were still around in a way that I wish I could still be working with them on organizations like Mercer Street Friends. I envy those who are working with them now in their new life.
Well, I would like to personally thank Barbara and David Frazier for the time they graciously gave to me as part of my onboarding right before the pandemic, when I was coming on as the Mercer Street Friends CEO. They are part of a wonderful legacy of leadership that has guided this organization for decades, and it is my great pleasure to present the Robert M. Applebaum Service Award to Barbara and David Frazier.
Well, all I can say is wow. This is the first time we've seen that, and I want to thank all of the wonderful, kind words that it was included. My husband has warned me to get closer. That's what husbands are for. It is an honor and a privilege this evening for David Frazier and me to be granted this, the 2022 Robert M. Applebaum Award, Service Award. And we thank Mercer Street Friends for the recognition. Shortly after we moved, just across the river, directly from the New Jersey State House, David and I sort of said what we would really like to do is contribute to addressing the issues of poverty and community needs in the Trenton area. Thus, when I was approached by then board members of Mercer Street Friends, Odie Lefevre and John Spears, who told me about Mercer Street Friends and encouraged me to come on the board. It was with great interest, and I did. The next decade I spent working with an organization that was engaged in activities that were designed to help David and me meet our goals. When my tenure on the board was expired, David went on the board and continued our efforts. Throughout that time that we were on the board, we were struck by the dedication and the professionalism of our fellow board members, the staff of Mercer Street Friends, and the many volunteers and supporters for Mercer Street Friends. And so tonight, I'm going to tell you that it was both very welcome to us to have the opportunity and very humbling to be part of an organization that and to work with such wonderful people. And so thank you again. All right.
How about another round of applause for all of our honorees tonight? Thank you, everybody. So I want to thank all of our sponsors, benefactors, and patrons for making tonight's celebration possible. In particular, I want to thank our leadership committee, Vicki Bixel, Pat Hartpence, Bob Holt and Ann Irwin, Kira Williams, Stacy Mongold, and Nancy Faraday. Let's give them a round of applause. I want to thank Butter Allen and Chad Johnson and the rest of the food bank team who got this place ready for tonight. It doesn't always look this good. Riverview Studios for the videography and facilitating the staging and the sound system, Reggie Hallett and 1911 Smokehouse Barbecue, and Daphne's for our food and drink. Let's give them a round of applause. I want to thank my wife Ann and son Jack for their support and their support of Mercer Street Friends. I got more family here. My mother is here, and my sister is here from Rhode Island. It was her birthday yesterday. She wanted to come here. Betsy Sullivan. A couple of other mentions here. It was recently announced that John Harmon will be the Greater Trenton's Karen Franzini Award winner in December. Congratulations, John. Is he still here? Where is he? There he is. There he is. Front and center. There you go, John. Jim McCluskey is here, and he founded the Centurion Ministries. He's over here in the green shirt. He founded it right in Princeton more than 40 years ago, and they have been responsible for freeing 67 innocent people from prison during that time. Author and board member of Centurion Ministries, John Grissom, calls Jim the Exonerator. Also, we had catalytic converters stolen from our 3 food bank trucks over the Memorial Day weekend. Now, who would do that, right? But it happened before to the South Jersey Food Bank a couple of months ago. So immediately upon learning that we had 3 trucks out of commission, the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, and their truck is right here, they lent it to us within 48 hours. We also got help from the South Jersey Food Bank, so we didn't miss a beat on distributions and such. And Carlos Rodriguez, the CEO of the Community Food Bank of New Jersey, is right here, and I'd like to thank him and give him a round of applause. And finally, okay, they're trying to tell me something. And finally, to our incredible leaders who we honored this evening, Kevin Cummings, the Bonner Foundation, the 5 Help Foundation, and Barbara and David Frazier. You inspire us all. Thank you for your service and leadership. And please stick around so we can get a group photo for now. The evening's not over. We're going to keep serving till 7:30. Please hang around and enjoy yourselves. Thank you all so very much for coming.